Have you ever felt a little bit complacent? Like, things are going, you're not really happy with the way things are going in life, but on the other hand, you're really reasonably comfortable. And so, um, you cruise a little bit and maybe don't do what the things that deep down in you need to be doing. Have you ever felt that way before? There's a story about some pilots. They're flying a jet, uh, 747, and there's a pilot and a co-pilot, and the pilot says, "All right, look, I'm gonna." He's been in there for hours. He says, "Look, I'm gonna go talk to some passengers." And so he goes, and the other guy knows the protocol is, he has to stay there. You can't just leave they have to have someone in the cockpit, right? And so, but unfortunately, after a while, the co-pilot has to go to the bathroom, and so, but he waits and he waits and he waits, and the pilot doesn't come back. And finally, the guy feels like his bladder's about to burst. And so finally, he gets up and he goes to the restroom and heads back to the cockpit. But he reaches to open the door and it's locked. And that's no big deal. He reaches for his key, but he left his key in his jacket in the cockpit. His heart speeds up, but fortunately, of course, the captain has a key. So he goes back to the captain and he says, "Excuse me, Cap." He finds the captain talking to a passenger. He says, "Excuse me," kind of whispers, "I need your key." The captain is kind of realizing, like, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to have left the cockpit. And he says, "Look, I need the key. I locked my key. I locked my key in there." And the captain says, "My key's in the cockpit." And so he grabs him by the arm and rushes forward with the co-pilot. And, they try the door, it's locked. And so they start, throwing the shoulder against it. That thing it's, it's solid. I mean, it's built to stop a terrorist. And so they try kicking it, can't kick that door down. They tried, really running and slamming the shoulder at full run, ramming that door, and that doesn't even work. Finally, they get the fire. There's a fire axe, and the captain gets the fire axe, and he's hacking at the door, and he just destroys the door with this fire axe. Finally, they get in there and are able to eventually make a safe landing. But what this shows, these guys were basically on autopilot themselves. They were on autopilot themselves, going through life. No real worries, no real motivation, nothing real much going on. And then all of a sudden, this situation happened, and all of a sudden, the reality, the vigor, and the intensity of their life suddenly burst, and suddenly they were fighting for their lives, and they realized that an extremely a disaster was literally staring them in the face, and they were responsible for it. And so they had to take extreme actions in order to, they wouldn't have done that. They wouldn't have done anything extreme like that, except they had this kind of situation that forced them to take that kind of action. And so sometimes we have to, in our lives, get motivated. We don't need to bring out axes or anything, obviously, but we need to get some urgency in order to get out of our comfort zone and take the actions that we need to take in order to get some things done and achieve the goals that we want to achieve. And so that's the message today, is to imagine, look, the clock was ticking for these guys. That plane was going to run out of gas if they didn't get in there and crash. And we're all on a ticking clock. Time is going to run out on all of us, and we have things we need to accomplish, and we just can't pretend like we're outside the cockpit and there's nothing to worry about. No, we have to get back in the cockpit and get that and accomplish our goal, land that plane, whatever our goal is. And sometimes it takes a little more. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button if you like this kind of content. By the way, hit me in the discussion. Have you ever been in a scenario where suddenly reality took on a new intensity and you were literally forced into action? Hit me in the discussion there. Thanks for watching.